So, if you've seen one of the flyers, I made very sure that it was branded as the Listening Tour Town Hall series. We were originally supposed to start in October. Unfortunately, I had a little personal health issue come up unexpectedly. My whole October calendar ended up being completely wiped, and ended up cramming everything I had in October and in November. So instead of over a 2-month period, we ended up putting this all together in about a 2 to 3 week period. And I just have to say, like, there's no way with everything else I was trying to make up for that I could have done this on my own. So people like Brandon and Aaron and Eli and so many others that played a part in organizing this. I can't thank everyone enough because this just when life got unexpectedly very crazy, they were there to help me make this dream of putting this town hall listening tour series together and make it a reality. So thank you, and thank you to all of you. Thank you so much for coming. I know that everyone has busy lives, and it really means a lot that get a good amount of people out here and just have a conversation. I reference back, and I try to keep opening short, but once you become an elected official, you just learn to talk and talk and talk. You go from like not being able to worry about filling enough time to speak to not being able to restrict enough time. But real quickly, just one example of why I wanted to do this. When I was campaigning, the way I was able to have success, it wasn't because I could fundraise the most or I had the most name recognition. I was certainly trailing behind in those areas, but I was willing to outwork people, and mainly in terms of actually going and meeting with people one-on-one, knocking on people's doors. And I think to myself and my team of volunteers, we knocked on over 30,000 individual doors in the district. One house in particular, I was out in Marcusville, and I'll never forget it when I knocked on the door. No answer, so I turned around, started walking down the driveway, figure on to the next one, and then the gentleman opened the door. So I turned around and come back, and we started chatting. And I found out he was a disabled veteran, had fought for our country in both Iraq and Afghanistan. And we ended up talking for probably like 25 minutes, which my campaign manager, if he would have known at the time, probably wouldn't have been happy with me, because he was always like, all right, 5 minutes or less, we got to hit this many houses. He started explaining that about a simple issue that himself and other disabled veterans were having in the state of Missouri. He said that he lived in 2 other states since serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. He explained a very onerous, burdensome process to obtain the disability status in the first place. Multiple doctors visits, all these hoops you have to jump through, and all the other states he lived in. That's all you need. If you want to do a simple thing like get a handicap placard on your vehicle. All right, test. Now we're in business. So just to obtain a simple handicap placard on your vehicle, in these other states, you just show them the letter that shows that you've obtained disability status, and that's all you have to do. In Missouri, I learned that day that we have our own set of hoops that you have to jump through, which means scheduling even more additional doctor's visits, and just all this additional burden for just such a simple thing like getting your handicap placard. It seemed wrong, and I told him then, I'm going to remember this conversation, and if I'm elected, I'm going to find a way to solve this problem. And by my second year in the Senate, actually one of the bills I was most proud of, I ended up passing that bill. And not only that, there were a number of other veterans that were serving in the Senate and the House. And so I started meeting with some of them and going through other veterans' bills and taking pieces of those bills and incorporating them into my bill. And by the time I was done, I was told that it was the biggest veterans package the legislature had passed in probably about a decade, and something that I never expected. Just came out of just a simple thing, like just trying to help this guy with just a simple problem, just obtaining a handicap placard. And instead, we ended up with all these additional employment opportunities for veterans, other ways to aid them, additional mental health services, new medallions for those that have fought bravery and want to show their pride for that. If you want to get a veterans-related license plate, You had to pay an additional fee. Well, I think you've already paid everything you need to personally. You've gone out there and risked everything for our freedom. And that is another piece of it. Now you can get a veteran can get any kind of veteran-related license plate, 0 fee. We cover it now. And there were probably about a half dozen other provisions as well. And